It is game two between the Carolina Hurricanes and the Montreal Canadiens. Game one had somewhat of a surprising outcome. Montreal absolutely spanked the Hurricanes, and it certainly looked like a week and a half off watching from the couch hurt Carolina more than it helped them. They were sloppy, they made a lot of uncharacteristic mistakes, and Montreal took full advantage of their aggression to take a massive lead early in the first, and then Carolina could never fully recover. But in game two, we saw the Carolina team that was dominant in the first two rounds, and even though this came down to last shot wins, Game 2 taught us a lot about what this series has in store for us and what it means for the Montreal Canadiens in the rest of the series. So let's dive into it. As we said before, the Hurricanes' identity is all about pressure, and the offensive philosophy is shoot, retrieve, embrace close support by winning the 50-50 battles and eventually grinding down the other team into making a mistake. Carolina, just in game one, get right to their game early, and it starts with a support in a 50-50 battle. First, it's by Jankowski right here. Doesn't have body positioning, but he uses his stick to yoink that puck towards him. In comes the support from the F2 to just get the body in the way. That's the second 50-50 they win as he allows this puck to just be rimmed. Then here's the third one by Slavin, who gets on his horse to pinch down the wall, beat the Montreal defender, and bring it back the other way to cause a change of sides yet again. Now, we've explained in our past breakdowns that the Habs play a hybrid D zone, so it's a zone coverage down low, and then it turns into a man-on-man when the puck is moved up high. So the opportunity to exploit that is catching Montreal in the awkward in-between stage of going from low to high and having a player attack the seam like Carolina does here. This is textbook hockey as well. This is the F3 that covered for Slavin to make that aggressive read down the wall and pinch, and now he's high in space. Carolina threads the needle. There's no dust off on this shot. Just get volume to the net. And how about this tip? He catches Dobish going the wrong way. It is perfect execution, and Carolina strikes first yet again. But just like game one, Montreal is going to have a response right away, and again, it's Carolina beating themselves. As this puck makes its way up the wall, Jackson Blake is going to take off right down the middle for a potential breakaway pass, which is something that Carolina did a few times in game one. And so Taylor Hall, knowing he's got a man taken off, he's going to go for the old gunslinger no-looker and try and catch everyone sleeping at the wheel. But instead, he delivers a hot and fresh Domino's pizza right to the Habs D, and now it's panic at the disco time for Carolina. It goes to Deneau. You get two Hurricanes hitting the slip and slide to try and get in the lane, but Josh Anderson redirects it. It goes by Freddie. He lets in the first goal on the first shot. Not really his fault, but with the conference final Fred being a topic of discussion, he probably would have wanted that one. Either way, we're tied going into the second, despite Carolina outshooting Montreal 7-2 in the first. Now, both of these teams want to create on the transition and get their best players with the puck in the middle of the ice with speed and possession. One way to do this is to try and stretch out the opponent, which is what Montreal did back in game one. They sent Caulfield to the red line. They back off some of the pressure of Carolina, all while they had Slavkovsky build speed underneath to be primed to pick up a centered puck if Montreal could make a play under pressure, which is exactly what they did, and it led to a goal. Montreal did not shy away from using this in game two. If you watched this game, you would have noticed that the Habs frequently opted to regroup behind their net and get set up for a breakout. They would have three players swinging down low while the fourth hangs near the opposing team's red or blue line for a stretch pass. The idea is like we saw on the goal. Make the stretch pass, have the winger make a play under pressure so that ideally he can hit one of these streaking teammates underneath who have beat their check up ice and now have space to carry it in with possession. But after Coach Rod Brindamore was done slapping the shit out of all of his players for game one, he decided to forego a practice the day after and instead had a video session. And for sure, this popped up because the Hurricanes were well prepared for it. Montreal tried numerous times to get this play working for some controlled entries, but each time Carolina shut it down. Like everything in their defensive game, their neutral zone structure is man-on-man as well, so each time Montreal tried to run this play, Carolina just had a player above their man, ensuring that there was no clean option, and the gaps were perfect. And so Coach Rod said, all right, we can play those games too. We got guys that can torch you on the transition, so they ran this play themselves. Two Habs go to pressure the D and the support option, so Carolina rims it to their stretch option, who's confronted right away by a Montreal defender. He makes just enough of a play to bump it right to Nikolai Ehlers, and this is exactly what Carolina wants. Ehlers is one of the fastest players in the league, and because of that stretch option, it is open space underneath for him to get this puck with a gap advantage. It's a 2-on-2, and anytime that's the case, we traditionally see a crisscross to get the defenders to have to switch assignments. But Ehlers says, watch me dance here for a second, swivels the hips to protect himself from the defender, and he's also banking on Caulfield, who's a forward, to go fishing. He does, and how about this for cheeky? Catches Dobish moving left to right. You gotta close your damn legs. He's gonna be working the corner all night if he keeps those open. Carolina takes a 2-1 lead at the end of the second, thanks to some unbelievable pre-scouts from Carolina and a little bit of nifty skill to finish it off. But really, this is Montreal's MO, and as we've seen throughout these playoffs, even when they're outplayed, they simply find ways to stay in the game and win it. One reason for that is Jakub Dobish. The kid is absolutely on a run of a lifetime right now. Carolina had an unbelievable chance on the power play early in the third to take a 2-goal lead, but look at this save from Dobish, using all of that 6'4" frame, seals the bottom portion of the net, and then robs Jarvis with the blocker. Says, not today, pal. He keeps this within one. We got 7 minutes left in the third. It is still a 1-goal game, and Montreal stays patient, waiting for the over-aggressiveness to bite Carolina. The Hurricanes go to attack as Svechnikov, as the F3, decides that he's going to go for it here with the puck carrier having his back to the play and being on his backhand. But just like game one, if they can make that poised play, good things will happen. They beat the pressure and it leads to a 3-on-2. Josh Anderson is determined to become Alexander Ovechkin in this game. It's ugly, but they don't ask how, they ask how many. He cleans up the grease for his second of the game to tie it up. It is Anderson on Anderson crime right there, as Montreal, despite getting outshot 24-12, find a way to send this game to OT. Carolina, though, they come out hot. This will piss off Montreal fans. Taylor Hall is still mad he delivered a hot and ready Domino's pizza on the first, so he decides to take a run at Hudson, and he gets him pretty good. He was shaken up, and the very next shift, we see just how one tiny mistake can change a game. Montreal's fourth line is out on the ice. Oliver Kapanen, who's a young 22-year-old 20-goal scorer, has been having trouble getting into the lineup in these playoffs because of his youth and inexperience. He's gained the red line, so he wants to just get this deep, but he's kind of got a rolling puck on him here, so he also rushes his touch, and he can't get it deep enough, and this Carolina team is so damn fast on the transition, they make him pay. They bump it right up to Ehlers. He's absolutely flying. It is mono-a-mono. Dobish challenges right in that white ice. Ehlers says thanks for coming out and beats him clean to the blocker side. 2-goal game for him. That's the winner, and Carolina wins game 2 to tie this series back up at 1. Now let's unpack this, shall we? This psychologically is a massive win for Carolina. It is no secret. We've heard the numbers. This team's kryptonite has without a doubt been the conference finals. After the way they looked in game 1, they had the excuse of being rusty to fall back on, but if they lost this game, it probably would have put them in a mental pretzel going back to Montreal down 0-2. Instead, it's all tied, and more importantly, they played to their identity. That should be a big concern for the Montreal Canadiens, though. Ozone possession was very one-sided in this game. The Hurricanes had over 30 minutes of it, and if there wasn't a chance to strike off the rush, there was virtually no other offense generation for Montreal. And really, that is credit to how great Carolina is in their man-on-man. Look at how they handle the Suzuki line. Any outside scissor route that they even tried to run, Carolina just stays glued to them. Off the puck, they take away the shooting threat of Caulfield, and eventually they make this line force a pass into the slot, which is blocked for a turnover. Personally, I felt Montreal has been their best in these playoffs when they have their forecheck going as well, and in this game, Carolina didn't even let it get a sniff. Again, a ton of support off the puck along the wall to help their defensemen come up with possession, and then on the breakout itself, you have all 5 players on one side of the ice and in close proximity with each other to provide that additional support. If Montreal doesn't address this, it will expose them in this series. They're going to need to find ways to generate offense beyond just their transition and counterpunch game. Carolina was way more disciplined in the neutral zone, as we saw, and even gave them a taste of their own medicine. But we're going to see how Marty St. Louis adjusts, because if they don't, they could be in big trouble heading back home in this series. So, what surprised you? Who pissed you off about these games? Let me know in the comments down below. As always, I'm Anthony from Hockey Psychology. We do all the breakdowns on this channel. And if you want to see more just like this, check out any of the videos here and subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss a single thing.